What up? It's D&D in the building. Purdue power. No ceiling. Yeah. Double D back, that's Derek and Dalton. Talking gold blood, Mackie Ben Moulton. Black and gold dreams, banners we folding. Paint crew loud, every rim gets swollen. Stats so clean, you think it's a scheme. History books get Purdue screen. From humble to E-Day, legends on replay. We run through March like it's just another weekday. Double the energy, talking that legacy. Boiler boys cooking, no recipe. Microphone magic, rivalry static. We breaking it down, keep it cinematic. You want the heat, better tune in fast.
Hello and welcome back to the Double D podcast. My name is Derek, and as always, this is my co-host Dalton. Today we are going to be recapping Purdue's road victory over Wisconsin on Saturday. 16-point victory, 89-73. Pretty impressive all around. It really wasn't even that close. Kind of a little late run after the record-breaking moment where Purdue kind of got a little too caught up in that for a minute and then let Wisconsin just jump right back to about a 12-point game, and then it got stretched back out. So never was in doubt. The first 10 minutes wasn't great, but after that, Purdue pretty well dominated the game. Dalton, how's your weekend been? And, what are your thoughts on the game just right out the gate?
Weekend is good. As always, I got to go back to work tomorrow after 2 full weeks off, so gonna be everybody just pray for me on Monday and the people that report to me, pray for them as well. Good weekend, I guess. Just pretty chill, relaxed. Still feeling like crap, so it's like day in and day out. I'll feel better one day and then the next day not, so struggling with that. But overall, chill weekend. As far as the game goes, overarching thoughts, not that great of a game. Like Purdue-wise, but somehow we're up 25 on Wisconsin. Like, this team is just that good again this year. We're so spoiled, a win is a win, but I'm always gonna get more nitty gritty than that. Like, and I'm sure Painter in the locker room do too, with how big of basketball nuts they are. So, what about you? How was the weekend? What were your overarching thoughts?
Yeah, weekend was solid. Anytime Purdue wins is a good thing. Bears lost tonight, but it didn't matter. Still locked up the 2 seed. So from a sports standpoint, a good weekend. My daughter's been at Malibu Jacks all day with her little friend. That's always a little, she's a 7-year-old. So always a little like disconcerting as a parent, like when your kid's away out of town with somebody else's family. It always kind of raises the anxiety a little bit, but she's on her way back. So, hopefully she had a good time. I'm sure she did. But as far as the game goes, yeah, kind of on the same line as you. Didn't think it was it was probably a B- game for Purdue. Wasn't really super impressive in any sort of way. I mean, obviously, and we'll get to it in more depth, the overarching highlight was Braden breaking that record. And I think had Purdue not kind of lost grip of reality there for a minute, and, this would have been a 30-point win, we probably wouldn't have had the same thoughts. But it did show a little chink in the armor there. Like, great teams, you watch Michigan play, they don't ever let up. Their pace of play never slows down. Now, they may bring in subs and they may bring in bench players, but they continue to play the same style of basketball. They're not slowing down. And in this game, Purdue just got really sloppy there for a few minutes. Outside of that, though, we didn't shoot the ball well. 10 for 27 from 3, only 13 for 19 from the line. Only shot 48% from the field in general. So, I mean, it actually 46%, I'm sorry. Just wasn't a very good shooting night. I thought we did a lot of good things on the defensive end for stretches of this game. And I thought we did a lot of good things from an offensive set running standpoint to get really good looks. They just kind of weren't falling during stretches of this game. But overall, like you said, we're spoiled. It's a double-digit road win at Wisconsin, a team that's been a thorn in our back that we never seem to be able to blow out. And to me, it's just a reminder that, the Iowa State game did happen, but it was a one-off. We're blowing every single other team we play out. Like, those games happen, and you can't completely forget about them. It's kind of like, an ex-girlfriend when you're younger. You don't forget everything because then you lose sight of what you want in the future. But at the same time, you don't sit around and think about it all the time either, because it really didn't matter, and that game really didn't matter. It wasn't a Big Ten game. It's not going to hurt our seeding. It wasn't. It was a loss to a undefeated top 3 team in the country, and it was a resounding loss. But at the same time, it's one game, and we've dominated everything since then, and people are kind of forgetting about Purdue, and I think that's a great position for Purdue to be in. Let Michigan, let Iowa State, let these Nebraska, even let these undefeated teams get all this hype while Purdue kind of lives in the shadows a little bit. And I think that's what they're doing, and they're doing a good job at it. And now we have a pretty good stretch here of like 4 or 5 games in a row that are very, very winnable. Shouldn't be too much stress, honestly. 3 straight home games followed by a West Coast trip that looks pretty easy at this point. So, yeah, those are just my general thoughts. Kind of wanted to ask you a little bit about pace of play, because like in this game, it felt like we were playing a little faster. I don't know exactly how many possessions we had, but we took 71 shots, put up almost 90 points in a game that we didn't shoot well. So, I mean, you assume we shoot our season averages. This could have been 110 easily.
Yeah.
So do you feel like we played any faster in this game, or was that just an illusion to my eyes?
Well, got to look at 14 offensive rebounds. So we got a lot of extra possessions. Offensive rebound wise, we were 14-10, which we've dominated that all year. Our offensive adjusted tempo came up to 111, so we are playing a bit faster. I believe that, yeah, that's per 40 on KenPom. Shout out KenPom. But yeah, we're at 111 now on tempo, so I mean we're moving up. We're trending in the right direction. I think them bringing that to Braden's attention will only push that faster. But it's like you said last night when we were watching the game, like you can push the ball to somebody other than Braden.
Right.
Like Daniel stands there and holds it for 4 seconds when he gets a rebound looking for Braden. Like Fletcher can bring it up. CJ can bring it up, especially on a fast break. And then if not, you find Braden if you get stopped and get it back out. I mean, I would really like to see that number up around 70 or 80. I mean, that means we're still running good sets, but we are a force to be reckoned with.
So, were you saying we were 111 for that game?
No, that is overall on KenPom.
Oh, really?
So,
I thought we were down in like the 200s.
well, I'm looking right now. Oh, it's 311.
Okay,
That's why I can't read, dude. So
yes, I was like, there's no way we're 111, because I mean that game was definitely faster, because I think we were around like we were like in the 330s maybe before that game.
Yeah, because they did cover it on sleepers, and I think I remember 320, 330. I don't know why. I just can't see it. My screen is split, so sorry for that.
I was like, I knew that sounded way off.
Hand up, but yeah, we should be up around 111. I mean, speed it up. I mean, you look at Michigan, they're 4th.
Yeah.
When you got the weapons and the depth that we have, there's no reason other than PJ wants to show how good of an offensive coordinator he is. That's the only reason I can think of. Like, so he can get a coaching job and end up like Shrewsbury. Like, you're not going to be the same if you're not under paint. It's a different story, man. Like, some coaching trees work out, but if you notice, like Brantley and Lusk, they've stayed at Purdue. Like, yeah, sure, they could go coach somewhere else, but you're not going to have that level of success.
And the grass isn't always greener in the coaching world. I mean, there's guys that are meant to be assistants, meant to be head coaches. It's not. There's a lot that comes with a head coaching job: pressure, recruiting. You're the guy at the end of the day that's responsible for everything, and you got to be really good at handling that and explaining your decisions and why you did them. But Yeah, I think you're right though. In this game, 14 offensive rebounds, 8 steals, 22 assists to 7 turnovers. So from a possession standpoint, clearly we kind of dominated this game. End up taking 14 more shots, which is very significant. To take 14 more shots to your opponent is kind of rare. So did like to see that. The rebounding, I look at it. We won the offensive rebounding battle. We did lose the overall rebounding battle, but I think of that more as like we just missed a ton of shots
Yeah.
that we normally make, which allowed for a lot more rebounds. They were, when you shoot 14 more shots, there's obviously a lot more defensive rebounding opportunities. We only end up losing the rebounding battle by 2. I think it was 9 at halftime, maybe somewhere in that 7 to 10 range. So, yeah, I don't think that was as big of a problem as maybe it looked like on paper, I guess is where I'm coming from.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, we were much more efficient with our points off turnovers, which means we're finding good shots. It's just like, I know that this team, especially with a team that's big and slow and goofy like Wisconsin, you could essentially, run them out of the gym.
Right.
Like besides Blackwell and that, what's his Bird? Is that his name? No, it
Boyd.
is Boyd. Yes. Besides them, there's not a whole bunch of athleticism on that. And we had a smaller lineup in at one time. Kind of was hoping to see that run, but when a team shoots 16% from 3 at home, like they were in the first half, we were talking about it. The rebounds weren't coming to us because those were just jacked shots. They were going everywhere. Like you're playing basically hand grenades at that point. Like where's it going to come off?
Yeah.
So it's hard to be in position if there is no position to be in. When a rebound comes off like that, it's, extremely difficult. But overall, I would like to see the tempo increase. But they're also really good at scheming teams. So
Yeah, 100%. They're Wisconsin, whether they have the horses or not, is still a good team. You mentioned Boyd and Blackwell, and I kind of wanted to hit on that just a little bit before we get into stats and Purdue stuff. Boyd and Blackwell, mostly Boyd, especially early in this game, the first half, we could not keep their guards in front of us. The only way they were getting points was in the paint, and it wasn't with their bigs. It was their guards getting into the paint and shooting uncontested layups, essentially, or contested ones and making them. Did you see this as, because from what I watched, I saw Jakari get blown by once or twice. I saw Braden get blown by. To me, Fletch actually played pretty good defense in this game. He was active. He was not getting beat like everybody else was. Omar definitely got beat a couple times, but he was active. Was this just like maybe we were playing a little too tight on their guards and we should have just taken half a step back? Or was this just, they have 2 elite guards averaging 20 a game, and sometimes that's going to happen?
yeah, I think they're just that quick off the first step. Saw a lot of bad closeouts last night. Like you see even when DJ's closing out, they're sideways. Like you gotta be squared up and you gotta be chopping your feet. I think I've said it on here before. It's like a fundamental drill I can remember doing, closeout drills where you're chopping your feet, coming up with your hands up. And like I don't think Blackwell and Boyd are good enough shooters that you necessarily have to close out like that. Like that's what they wanted to do. We were giving up exactly what they wanted to do. They're big athletic guards. Yeah, I mean they shoot okay, but it wasn't falling last night, so maybe test the waters. But it's like Pettiford we had no issue with. I don't understand why game to game it's different. They were blowing right by our guards. And I
Yeah,
don't think
especially Boyd. I mean,
think it's a quickness thing.
no, definitely not with like a CJ. Now, I do think there's times where Jakari laterally, like side to side quickness isn't as good. He's pretty fast and bursty downhill, but obviously Braden, I think most of the time he gets beat, it's because he's trying to cheat something and get a steal or do something, to get an advantage and it ends up backfiring. That's really the only times you see that. Kind of similar with Omer. They play very similar defense, like they're trying to cheat and steal. And I think that gets a lot of good. There's a reason we had 8 steals in this game. But it also can cause you some problems. But yeah, I'm kind of with you. I don't think it was like horrific, and we definitely corrected it. It got better. And they had that one dude for them hit a couple of wild threes to keep them in the game in the first half. But really, this seemed like a game that I remember we were sitting there talking, and it's like, dude, how is this game like a 2-point game? Because Purdue is playing absolutely horrible. Like,
Right.
and by the time Purdue started playing even average, it just became a kind of a landslide. And we did have that quick stretch in the second half where we played well, and it went from, heck, I think it was cut to 4 pretty much immediately in the second half, and then boom, it was 20, and it was like, holy crap, that
Right.
happened really fast. Any other before we get to team stuff, any other overarching stuff that you want to talk about?
I mean, it's just we've got to be better at our help. I noticed that our help was usually a step late getting there, and that's going to cause foul problems for our big guys in bigger games where you might face a Michigan or something. If you're a step late, you're fouling. And we've seen that. I mean, Cluff had 4 fouls last night. I mean, if you're late, you got to do something to stop it. So the sliding and the transitioning of our defense has just got to get a little quicker, I think. But, that comes with time. We're just opening Big Ten play. A lot of time to mesh and a lot of time to get those defensive issues figured out. So
Agree. Yeah, and luckily we have, like I said, a pretty easy stretch here coming up that we could kind of get better through winning, rather than jumping into a Michigan State or Illinois right away and having to really play well to win that game. So I think the defensive stuff will get shored up a little bit. I do believe that it's not like a systemic thing. It's just as simple as, you got to stay in front of your guy. And there was a clip I saw of Painter kind of telling that to the guys: quit trying to take charges, quit trying to cheat, just wall up in front of your man and then let the big guys come clean it up.
yeah.
And I think DJ and Cluff both had 4 fouls or close to it in this game. And that's one huge benefit this year versus last year is we do have that depth to, if somebody does get some fouls, we can kind of just rotate them when you don't have a big drop off like you did last year. So I think that's going to help us long term. But if we get into some of these games against like a Michigan or an Illinois that have multiple bigs and good guards, and the foul trouble becomes an issue, where do we go? Because we really can't afford in those kind of games to be without, our big guys. So we will move over to the stats here, and we'll just get started with Purdue. So you kind of see everybody's minutes here. Definitely was a much tighter rotation. I was going to ask you about that as well. We did briefly see one time with Benter in the game with Oscar and Trey at the 3, which I thought was interesting. Maybe just testing that for when we play these bigger teams. I didn't see a whole lot of anything exceptional out of it, but definitely saw the minutes tighten up. Almost 37 minutes for Braden, almost 33 for Trey, 34 for Fletcher. So your big 3 are really going to probably start seeing those minutes get higher and higher, which is usually a good thing, for Purdue. So I always like to point out Fletcher Loyer, highest plus minus on the team, as always. And I thought it was kind of interesting. You win a game by 16, and you had so many guys play so many minutes. But if you look through the plus minus on here, it's pretty balanced. Like nobody was a plus 16 or a plus 18 or anything. So interesting to see that. But we'll start off with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Braden Smith. Sets the all-time assist record. Just an incredible human being to watch. It's one of those things at some point afterwards, I said to my son, it can be done. A 6-foot white dude from Indiana can become the greatest assist man in the Big Ten history. Now, it's not as simple as snapping your fingers and saying, I'm going to do it. But he is inspiring to a lot of kids who, the basketball world and community tells will never be anything. And it's just been an honor to watch Braden play for Purdue. How lucky that we are as a fan base to go from Zach Edey to Braden Smith, and then to the class that's coming in. And we just have an embarrassment of riches, and Braden Smith is just a true winner and a true guy that, God, if he was on another team, I would absolutely hate him. But because he's on my team, I've never quite seen anything like it. What are your thoughts on Braden, just overarching what we've seen? Obviously, he's got a bigger record to chase.
Yeah, we're witnessing history. It's a lucky time for Purdue fans, and I know we all get caught up in the banner. But it's like we said at the beginning of the season, just enjoy the time that we have with Braden, Trey, and Fletcher. These guys, just hit 100 wins together. So it's like 4-year players hitting 100 wins. We may never see that again, like ever. And Braden's he's an anomaly. I mean, it is inspiring. It's inspiring to a 35-year-old white male from northern Indiana, that, had I taken a different route, could have been me.
Yeah.
This dude, he's a freak athlete. He's just smart, and he's put the work in. He's studied the game. He plays the underdog role well. No, everyone still doubts him to this day outside of Purdue, People calling him overrated, saying he's been in college for 5-6 years. No, he's a fourth-year senior, and he just broke the Big Ten record. And we're not even halfway, we're about halfway through the season.
Yeah.
So, we're lucky and blessed to be able to watch a guy like him, because we can hope that Ertl is what they say he is, and I've seen him play, but to say that we'll ever see a player like Braden Smith come through West Lafayette again is quite a reach. So nothing but respect for him, and very glad that I got to witness greatness.
Yeah, well said. A couple things I was going to hit on. There was a video, I believe it was Boiler Ball, that put up of his first assist, and it was to Trey Kaufman-Renn. And the fact that he still plays with Trey Kaufman-Renn as he's breaking this record is just a testament to what Purdue is as a culture, retaining players, buy-in. These guys still play together. I mean,
Yeah.
the 893 assists later, and they're still on the same team. It's absolutely incredible. And and then Fletcher's also a part of that. I mean, I remember when Braden was going to come to Purdue, and I remember going to that year, me and my dad and the Tolukian family went to a exhibition game early in the year. I can't remember who he played, but it was the first time I'd ever seen Braden play, the first time he'd ever been in Mackey playing a game. And I remember on the way down, the Tolukians were like, "Hey, he's going to start. This little white freshman he's going to be our point guard." And that was really our only option that year. And I was like, "Oh man, there's no way." And my dad, who knows his grandpa, kept telling me, "No, he's the real deal. He's the real deal." And I just wouldn't believe it. And I watched that first exhibition. I didn't leave like, "Oh my God, this is going to be the next greatest point guard in Big Ten history." But I did leave it going, okay, I could kind of see it. He's a scrawny little kid, but a few years down the road, he'll get there. Well, it didn't really take him that long. He was great as a freshman, had turnover issues, but every year, when the ceiling gets higher, he just keeps reaching higher, and it's impressive. You thought last year, and he averaged almost 9 assists a game. There's no way he's going to outdo that. He did. You thought after the Edey year, well, he's going to take a drop because he doesn't have Edey now. He only got better. And some of the fadeaways he was hitting yesterday in that game, I'd look at you and you're just like shaking your head. Like, I mean, how can this guy continue to pull this stuff off? One of a kind player. And, we've got approximately 15 to 20 games left this season to appreciate him and watch him try to chase down this other record and chase what he says is the most important thing as a national title. And I'm excited to watch that and blessed that he's on our team. He does. So we'll kind of move past the sentimental glazing here and get to the nuts and bolts of it. So he does go 6 for 11 in this game, 0 of 2 from 3. He did have that one in transition. Some people probably hated that. I loved it. He looked ahead. Nobody's there. Looked behind. He ain't got no teammates that are close. I'm just going to pull it. Why not? Didn't hit it, but I like the confidence to do that. Ends up with, a Braden stat line, 4 rebounds, 12 assists, only 3 turnovers, a steal. Just played a solid all-around game. Thought he was very in control of this game, and didn't really try to do too much, just did things when it was needed. And when we really couldn't find a shot, he'd go create one himself. What were your thoughts on his game specifically against Wisconsin?
Yeah, I mean, you can't argue with a player that had more assists than the entire Wisconsin team.
By a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't close. And you see that more and more with all the hero ball that goes on these days. Like, kids don't want to assist. Nobody remembers assist. I have a critique on Braden. When the wheels kind of came off, it was 100% Braden.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
like at the same time, he was the reason we got back on track. So, he's a riverboat gambler, man. I mean, Painter said it himself. I made an AI video of it. Check it out on my X. It's pretty funny. Shout out to Grok. But he's a riverboat gambler and likes to put it all on black, and he usually wins. So great, another great game from him. Double.
Yeah, funny you said that too, because after the game, he got interviewed in the hallway or something, like kind of a long one, really, and he was very talkative. You could tell he was in a good mood. And he of course shouted out his podcast and stuff, and said he mentioned a couple of things, but one of them was kind of what you said, how when he got that record, the wheels kind of fell off, because he said he was just running around smiling, kind of out of it for a few plays there. And
Right.
then he said he was jawing with a fan, which you saw after he broke that record, him like give him the bye-bye. And he said he's excited to talk about that on this podcast. So I'm excited to see what he has to say about that, what that guy was saying to him. But clearly somebody was jawing at him that probably he's heard a million times in his career, and he wanted to let them know. And it was just interesting to watch. And I think he probably did, and I know he did because he said it, felt accountable for them getting a little bit back in that game. But all in all, how can you be mad about a guy who breaks an all-time record? You can't, you won't. And as we already have mentioned multiple times, we're lucky to have him. Let's move over to Fletcher. Interesting game for him. Start off shooting really poorly. Ends up not shooting great, 6 of 15. This guy has learned how to get the ball in the air, though. He is shooting a lot more than I've ever seen him. 15 shots, that seems like normal for him now. Does go 4 of 10 from 3, hit multiple, I think 3 of them in the second half, which was really good to see. Thought this was crazy. 5 rebounds.
Yeah.
3 assists. I don't know what Fletcher thought he was doing in this game. But obviously ends up highest plus minus. He is the glue that keeps the team together. Thought it was another Fletcher game where you look up and he's got 15 to 20 points and you're like, how did he do that? It's always quiet. It's always efficient. And just thought I was most impressed in this game, not by anything he did on the offensive end, but he looked so much better defensively. I don't know if that was just a matchup or what it was, but what did you notice from Fletcher in this game, and what are your thoughts?
Yeah. Extremely efficient game. Shooting more, which they say when Fletcher makes 4 threes, I think Purdue's like 19 or 20 and 0.
I saw that.
So we need 4 threes from him every game. I don't really have any critiques for Fletcher. He moves the ball well. He's not getting as many charge calls this year just because the charge is dying.
Yeah.
But just another good game for him, a 124 offensive rating, so strong game.
Yeah, well, I thought it was, as usual, a great game for him. I'm going to separate, we don't normally do this, so I'm going to separate CJ and Jakari in this game. I thought they both did enough to deserve a little time. CJ, 4 for 11, goes 3 from 8 from 3. Got a ton of wide open threes in the corner. He missed a couple that you're just like, man, he makes those normally. But finishes with 14 points, 3 rebounds, an assist, 3 steals. Thought he was good defensively as always. I just think CJ's the guy that, he's getting more and more and more comfortable. I mean, he took 11 shots in this game. And none of them at all felt forced. And there was even a moment where I felt like he got a little pissed off and kind of went and got one on his own and was like, how you like them apples? And that's kind of maybe a preview of what we might see from him next year. because he's going to have to be more of a shooter, a true shooter, and a bucket getter, because we're not going to have. Ertl potentially could be, and we have Omer, but you're going to have to have an off-ball guy who can get a bucket as well. And was impressed with his game. What'd you think of it?
Yeah, the most probably the highest rated value piece for me is in the personal foul column for CJ. Plays the best defense of anybody on Purdue, 0 personal fouls.
Yeah, impressive.
He's everywhere he needs to be. He makes the right plays. He put the ball on the floor yesterday and got a bucket on his own, like you were saying. Yeah, I'm never going to hate on CJ. A tremendously efficient game.
Yep, loved what he did. Thought it was a great game. Played 24 minutes too, so he played quite a bit. Jakari plays almost 15 minutes. Goes 2 for 7, 2 for 5 from 3. Does pick up 4 fouls, so kind of the opposite of what you said about him. 6 points, an assist, and a steal. What I did like though, and this is I'm not going to get into his efficiency or anything. I liked how confident he looked when he was shooting the ball. He'd get the ball. Yeah. He wasn't hesitant at all. He even took a couple with a guy pretty close, and I was like, oh, man, okay.
Yeah.
But that's what I want to see from him. I'm confident he'll knock down enough to make it worth it. Any thoughts on him? Did you see anything different, or did you notice kind of the same thing?
They're not bad shots at all, and we need one guy on the floor at all times that's going to put a shot up when he needs to. Because sometimes in some lineups we don't have that, and you'll see that, and then we get into late clock situations. So we need a guy that is ready to shoot, that has that quick trigger. I just think he had a hard time last night with really quick guards. And then being a step behind, you're trying to catch up, you're trying to make a play. That's how you get 4 fouls.
Yeah, I agree. And he didn't have any rebounds, a little weird for him, but all in all, I was happy with what I saw. We'll hit real quick. Omer didn't do a ton in this game, but did knock down a 3 that looked confident. I was happy to see that go in. Had 2 turnovers to no assists. Don't like that number, but did have 2 steals to kind of counteract those turnovers. Drew a foul. Thought he was fine. Looked very active. I mean, I think this is more of what a role he's going to play this year, this 10-minute to 12-minute a game. And I don't think he's going to be playing the 17 to 20 he's been playing. So what did you think in his role? I mean, if he can continue just to knock down a 3 every game when he comes in and relatively handle the ball for a few minutes while Braden's out, I think that's all we truly need from him at this time.
Yeah, he's just got to be a threat. Turnovers looked bad. His turnovers usually do. The steals, while I love the steals, we also saw him get extremely cooked on some backdoors last night. Just in nowhere land, easy, wide open layups. So he's learning.
Yeah.
He'll be a stud in a year or so.
Yep, I agree. And then we'll run over to the big man room. Not much to talk about with Benter here. Was totally fine in his minutes. Scored 2 points, went 1 for 1, had no other stats. Did you see anything here? Or to me, this just felt like a game we didn't need a lot of Jack Benter.
Yeah, we didn't. I mean, if you look at all the other guys, what their contributions were when you have 5 players in double figures, not a lot of room for scoring off the bench. So come in, do your job, and get back on the bench.
I was going to say, this was a game. I think our bench has been averaging like 40 points a game. I mean, they went for 18 points. So when the starters are all putting up the numbers it's kind of like, we don't need you guys.
No.
But so we'll jump over to Oscar Kluff, who I thought had one of the typical Oscar Kluff, extremely high efficiency. Thought he was really freaking battling out there. And then obviously you were with me. He got 2 rebounds at the end of the game that cashed my bets. And that was super exciting for me. My favorite moment of the whole game. But goes 5 for 7, 2 for 3 from the line, 11 boards, only 25 minutes of gameplay, draws 4 fouls, most on the team, threw in 2 assists, 0 turnovers. And I'll tell you what, one thing I've been noticing about Oscar, this guy does not turn the ball over, like ever.
No.
Like I would guess he's averaging less than 1 turnover a game. I mean, it's got to be something close to that. It's why he's one of the most efficient players in the country. What were your thoughts on your guy, Oscar Kluff?
Cluff is my boy. 158 offensive efficiency rating.
Insane.
Highest in the game. He comes in, he does his job, he grabs boards, he's rough, and you don't want to see him under the basket. If he fouls you, you will feel it. He's gritty, he's nasty, he is everything Purdue. And I am just stoked. Another Painter get the best transfer coach in the country.
Oh yeah, especially from you talk about efficiency.
Yeah,
He doesn't get a lot. Like, it's weird to see Murphy not logging any minutes, but I think that Murphy is in as a God forbid something happens piece, and we need a guy who can be at least enough for a few games if somebody has to sit out a few games.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think he ever was coming in to play a big role on this team. It's just
But he's still a bench hype man. So
he is, and he's a guy that if you need to bring him in, he can knock down shots. I mean, he's not like a negative. He's not very good defensively, but anyway, we're not talking about him right now. 100% agree. Oscar Cluff was awesome. I think my favorite play of this whole game was that, and it's been talked about ad nauseum, is when he goes in fighting for that rebound, then Trey tries to one-hand dunk it in, and then Trey's on the floor, calls a timeout. Just a true Purdue play. I think that's probably the most hyped that we got watching this game, was just seeing the fight there, because that was at the time when Purdue was making that big run, and just love to see it. So we'll move over to Trey. Very inefficient game for Trey, honestly. 5 for 13 from the field, 1 for 2 from the line, only 5 rebounds. To be fair, just not a great Trey game. But my big thing here was he was battling. He was battling on the inside. He got a little frustrated at times, but he kept it together. I think he really made life miserable on Noah Winter. There's a reason Noah Winter did not have an exceptional game and looked visibly tired almost the entire game. Trey was just everywhere. Does get 3 assists. Thought he had made some really good passes out there. And had a block, which is always fun when Trey gets a block. So what were your thoughts on Trey? I don't take a whole lot from this game as far as his stat line.
Yeah, he just looks like he's not sure what to do.
That's a good
when
call.
He's on offense, he looks confused, whether he wants the push shot or whether he thinks we can find a better shot. And I can see that's running through his head. It's like we need the Trey that is going to take somebody and back them clear to the basket. I like the push shot, but I just don't. I mean, from him, it's surprising. He'll push shot from 15 feet and bottoms, but then he'll have a wide open push shot from 12 and miss it. It's just like, get to the basket, dude. You're so strong. And that's why Winter he was reeling, man. I mean, he still had 18 and 10, but if Trey or Cluff hadn't been on him, dude probably could have went for 25 and 14. So,
yeah, 100% agree. I thought that was a really good call. You said he kind of looks like he's in between thoughts. And for a guy who is as thoughtful as Trey, you'd hope that wouldn't happen. It looks to me like he's hit that point where the push shot has become threatening enough that teams are doing one of two things. They're just saying, go ahead and shoot that. It's not a high efficiency shot. Or they are coming out. At that point, just pump, fake, and dribble. Fake the push shot and dribble, because like you said, I mean, he takes 13 shots. In a normal Trey game, he's making 9 of those, and he ends up with 20 points in this game, and we're like, oh, a great game from Trey. Just wasn't very efficient, and I thought a couple of those push shots looked really good, just kind of spun out. They weren't like drastic misses like we were seeing in those early games and exhibitions this year. So I'm not worried about Trey. First game he's really played heavy minutes too in a long time. So interested to see moving forward if that continues. Lastly, we'll hit on Daniel Jacobson. Nice solid game, 14 minutes, goes 3 for 4, makes up 1 of 2 free throws, gets 3 rebounds. Thought he looked, and this is continuing to be a trend, way more physical than he has, in the first half of the season. So what were your thoughts on him? He gets 2 blocks as well.
Yeah. DJ just came in, did his job. I mean, he made life hell for the other team down low. He was blocking shots, if DJ gets behind you, you're in danger. If you get by the guard and you don't see him, you're getting blocked. That's just how DJ works. He had the second highest efficient or offensive rating on the team at a 136. So just a really good efficient game from him, 3 for 4. So, and 1 for 2 from free throws, which was what kind of what we expect from him. About every other one. So good game.
Yeah, just real quick, run down to Wisconsin, a couple of their guys. Nolan Winter, obviously, everybody knows who he is. Statistically had a good game, but if you watched the game, I just didn't think he had as much impact as he normally does. I think he got quite a bit of this during that late run that they made. So I was pretty content with that. Now, one thing I will point out, him and Boyd both drew 6 fouls. So they were obviously the 2 aggressors on the team. I did think Purdue did a really good job against Blackwell. You know, he goes 0 for 5 from 3, 4 for 11, only gets 9 points, is a minus 16. So thought we did a really good job against him this entire game. You kind of can look and see this Wisconsin team is at max 7 deep. I mean, they had a starter play 12 minutes. So really they're 6.5 deep. Everybody else just gets chump change time. Just not a great team. That Carrington guy came in and hit 2 huge threes, and I'm like, especially he hit them early, and I was like, oh God, here we go.
Booty ball.
But ends up doing nothing else the entire game. So what were your any standout thoughts other than, you know, maybe what Winter and Boyd did? They were pretty obviously the best 2 players on that team.
Yeah, just they looked out of sorts. I mean, just they don't play together well.
That's true.
And we expose that, especially defensively. I mean, Boyd he's a stud. I mean, the guy is, you know, he gets to the rim whenever he wants to. He drives hard, drives fast. So, but I also saw him jawing Braden. So, I mean, like, he's obviously not very intelligent.
I was about to say, is he maybe one of the more unlikable players that you've seen?
Yeah, kind of him and that Carrington guy. I can't stand dudes that just come in and like and one street ball league threes. Like that dude might as well have like turned around and did like a 360 3-point shot from how far he was out. I don't know.
He probably saw Braden's 360 pass and thought, oh, we playing mixtape ball.
Yeah, I guess. But Greg Gard just, I don't know. I don't like the guy. I don't think anybody that looks like him should be coaching at a Division I level basketball. So, I don't know how you can expect your players to come to a high standard when you look like that. So that's where I'm at.
Yep. Makes sense. Yeah. Biggest leads of the game up. Purdue was up 25 with 9 minutes left. That's kind of was my point of this game was never really close, even though it ends up being 16. It was not even ever that close. Wisconsin had a 9-2 lead to start this game. So that's maybe one of the last things I want to hit on overarching is this continued thing of Purdue just can't get out to a good start. I mean, this was a game that it was 9-2 and I'm going, oh my, like this is bad. Luckily Purdue proved to just be the better team, but I mean, is there anything like, do you see any reason why this happens? Are we just not ready? Or is it just plain we don't make shots early? I can't figure out what's going on.
I don't think it was that. I think it was just being on the road.
Yeah.
Last night, but we have seen it before, slow starts, and I don't know what it is, man. And it's not just this year.
Mm-mm.
This seems like a Purdue thing, like almost for the last 2 to 3 years, just slow starts, and then sometimes you get behind too much, and then you're just battling back the entire game. I just want to see them come out with, you know, some force and right off the bat just smack people. But I think the adrenaline's so high for the other team, knowing who you're playing, knowing where you're at, that, you know, that quick start may be from that. Whereas we're more relaxed. We know it's a long game. They're coming out wanting to punch Purdue in the mouth.
No, that's a good call. I mean, one thing I think I've noticed, I could be dead off on this, but is that it seems like in the beginning of these games, Purdue hasn't quite gotten to the like we're starting the game out physical. Like the other team starts out, like you kind of mentioned, like it's Purdue. We're going to go punch them. and Purdue's kind of playing, a little bit of that ticky-tack. We don't want to get fouls caught on us kind of stuff, and we just don't look like a physical team. And then, we get down, or it's 10 minutes into the game, and we go, oh, shit, we got to start playing basketball. And then we pick it up. And that's just kind of something I've been paying attention to and have seen. It's tough to really put a finger on it, but just want to see that change. I watch these Michigan games and some of these games from other really high-level teams, and they come out and they're up, it never fails, like 25-9. And I'm like, I mean, can we do that? Like, why can't we do that? Like, we did that last year to Michigan. Like, let me see us do that more, because that's the kind of game that's fun to watch, because now I can start actually nitpicking what I want to watch instead of worrying about, are we going to win this game?
We also don't feed the post early.
I know.
There's no post touches in like the first 5 to 10 minutes for Purdue. It's all jacked up threes.
It is.
Heat checks, whereas inside out passing leads to better 3 looks, which we saw last night again. So
yeah, it almost feels like in the beginning, Painter or PJ are trying to figure out, who's the hot hand tonight?
Right.
Rather than going, hey, let's just give it to our big guys and then we'll figure that out. Like,
right.
It's kind of odd. But it is what it is. Like I said, bench didn't score like they have been, so the starters kind of carried the load tonight or last night. Purdue wins the turnover battle significantly, in 22 assists to 7 turnovers. All in all, I'll put it this way: great win, average performance. To have an average performance and win by almost basically 20 points on the road at a team that's doesn't really give up blowout losses very often. I believe they did get blown out by Nebraska though too. So this is a weird Wisconsin team. It feels like they could get streaky on any night and beat anybody. They have that kind of firepower at the guard position. They just don't seem to have. They have like a good center and really good guards, but it's like the middle part of their sandwich is like they forgot to put the burger on or something. Like it's just a bun and toppings.
No lettuce, dude.
Yeah. So still respect the program. Think that they'll probably end up being, a 10-10 team in the Big Ten, fringe tournament team. Probably make it in the tournament and maybe lose in the second round or first round. They'll probably be an 8 or 9 seed. Could be a sneaky 8 or 9 seed to a 1 seed out there. One of those weird years. But
yep.
All in all, a good game. Who was your player of the game in this game?
I'll give you Braden. I'm gonna take Cluff.
Yep.
Just insane. Like, dude, he makes no mistakes. So,
he truly does. He's like the perfect guy you would want to play that role that he's playing.
Yeah.
Like, you're not our go-to guy. You could be. You averaged 17 and 12 last year. You should be.
Doesn't need it.
He doesn't care. He's just like, I'll go do the dirty work. I don't care.
I'm gonna get nasty.
I'm gonna get ugly down here. People are gonna be like, "Damn, how'd you get that hairy, bro?" Like, I bet his arms are just like a bear.
Mine.
Yeah. So good call out there. Yeah, I'm gonna take the obvious one here. It's gonna be Braden Smith. It's not even because of just of this game, even though you could look at this game, 14 points, 12 assists. That's a hell of a game for anybody. But on most nights, if there wasn't a record being broken, I think Bits said this. On most nights, this would be a ho-hum. Braden had another Braden game, whatever, move on. But we can't quite do that. Like I said, at this point, I very easily can say the best Purdue point guard we've ever seen. Can arguably say the best Big Ten point guard we've ever seen, and it won't be long before we're arguing whether he's the best point guard that's ever played the game of college basketball. They made a remark last night about Chris Paul and the fadeaway, and I thought that's a pretty good comp to him. Chris Paul's never been an athletic guy, not insanely quick, has great handles, great passer, great fadeaway. I don't know that Braden Smith will ever be on Chris Paul's level. Chris Paul's a slightly taller, I believe, but Braden is that's who he should try to become in the NBA. Is a guard that you have to keep on the floor because he's just so good at making everyone else so much better. Now, Chris Paul became an elite defender throughout his time in the NBA. Braden will have to do that as well. But just happy to have him on the team. Very happy to have witnessed this. we're going to the game Wednesday, and I'm hoping they're going to do some sort of honoring, give him a ball or something before the game. That'll be fun. I did just see on Twitter somebody had tickets. They had physical tickets to that game, and they posted it. And Braden said, "Hey, if you give me one of those tickets, I'll sign the other one for you." So that was
Yeah.
that was pretty cool to see. So you can tell, like, he says this stuff doesn't matter. It matters. It matters after. It doesn't matter
Right.
building up. He has to keep it out of his mind. But
Can't
if you
lock in on that.
if you focus too much on a personal goal, you forget the big overarching goal. And
Yep.
I think that's still to win a national championship for this Purdue team. I still think that they can do that. What are your kind of big takeaways? We've started off the real Big Ten season. We have, I believe it's like Washington, Penn State, and somebody else that's not very good coming up, followed by the West Coast trip. What's your outlook here for the month of January? What do you want to see from Purdue? What do you want to see them improve? Who are you looking for to kind of break out on this team?
Just my thoughts are get the help situations figured out. Get the defensive I guess assignments figured out between the starters. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, get that figured out. And other than that, I mean, I'm looking for more tempo. I would look for DJ to eat against different teams, and basically the starters to just continue doing what they're doing. I think DJ will become a very valuable asset when it comes to March. If he can come in, and he's a different style player than Cluff, so you have to prepare for two different things. And
Yep.
as a big man, we've seen usually not that good at preparing for one thing, let
Yeah.
alone two different things. So I think that could be a huge asset in the tournaments and late season. So that's what I got.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with I agree with all that. I think if I had to pick a breakout guy, I don't even know if this makes sense, but it'd be Trey. I just think
Mm,
you're starting to see his volume, his minutes, everything tick up. The efficiency will come back. I'm not worried about that at all. So I think we're going to start seeing the 20-point a game every night kind of Trey.
mm,
And we may see the rebounding numbers dip down a little bit because I think Cluff's the roles are going to start becoming hyper defined is my guess, my
yeah,
thought. And I see that as Trey and Braden and Fletch are going to start taking this team over. They've kind of let everybody else, play the pseudo guard or the pseudo leader for a
right,
little bit. Kind of, hey, let's mess around. You guys do what you got to do. We're just here to enjoy the show. And once Big Ten season comes, it's gonna flip. So that's kind of what I look for. Definitely want to see our defense continue to improve. Really want to see our 3-point shooting get a little bit better. It was really good there for a little bit, and it's kind of dipped here in the last few games, even though we're winning big. It's good to see that we can still win when that happens. But all in all, just excited for the season. We've gotten to a point where most nights there's good games on. We've gotten to a point where every game matters. There's no more bye games. It doesn't matter if it's Penn State at home. You can't lose that game. Every game matters. Every game's important. And I think once we get done with that West Coast road trip, it gets real crazy. I think it goes like
yeah,
Illinois, Indiana, then a couple semi-easy ones, and then it's Michigan State, Indiana again. It gets real exciting here toward the end of January, and I'm really excited for that part of the season because the amount of shit talking I've gotten into with some of these Michigan people is becoming a bit much, and I probably should just stop. But it's too much fun. They're too easy to get going, and if you don't tell them their team's the best team in the history of the game, they think that you're hurting their feelings.
best team in the history of the game was the UConn team Purdue played in the national
Yeah,
championship. So
that or that. I think it was like 98,
and on that,
99 Duke team.
yeah,
There was the Duke team back then that was super crazy good too. But yeah, that
yeah,
UConn team was
Michigan would get beat by 30 by that UConn team. So
yeah,
right
yeah,
now,
100%.
Dusty May ain't coaching them up that well. So
Yeah, appreciate everybody. Please hit the like and subscribe button.